Today we are going to talk about different types of analysis for films. Whenever we talk about film analysis, the first thing that we could think of would definitely be the plot or storyline. However, film analysis is not limited to plot analysis or storyline analysis only. There are a lot more other things that we can talk about. Also, when we want to talk about whether it is a good movie or not, it's not just about the acting of the actors or actresses. So when we want to talk about whether a film is good or not, there are actually several ways to analyze it. The first way is called semiotic analysis, to study the symbols in the movie. And the second type is the narrative structure analysis. We look at the plot structure, how the story develops, and how the characters affect the development of the story. And number 3, contextual analysis. We will look into the message, the social issues, the culture of the movie. And the last one would be mise-en-scene analysis. Basically, anything else, we'll put it into this category. Costume design, makeup, sound effect, visual effects, etc., etc. So I'm going to briefly introduce all these analyses to you one by one. The first one, semiotic analysis. So when we talk about semiotic analysis, it's all about symbols in the movie. And when we talk about symbols, of course we are looking for metaphor and analogies, what the things actually represent. It's not about the original functions of the objects, but what is the hidden meaning of the objects appearing repeatedly in the movie. So this is what we call semiotic analysis. Let's take Frozen as an example. When Elsa was young, she couldn't control her own magic, and that's why her father gave her a pair of gloves. Since then, she wore this pair of gloves to control her own magic. After she left her own castle, she removed her gloves, and she decided to face her own power and magic, and that's when the gloves were taken off. So you can see that the pair of gloves are repeatedly used and shown in the film. Of course, the obvious function of the pair of gloves is to stop her from using the magic, but it actually represents something more. There's some hidden meaning about this pair of gloves. In fact, this pair of gloves can represent Elsa's fear. So whenever this pair of gloves exists, it means Elsa's fear exists. As long as Elsa couldn't get rid of this pair of gloves, she cannot get rid of her own fear. And after she left her own castle, she took off the gloves and sang "Let It Go." That's the point where she decided to give up her own fear, to get rid of her own fear. And since then, the pair of gloves disappeared. So you can see that this pair of gloves is more than just a pair of gloves. It's not to just stop her from using the magic and protect her hands, but it also represents something else. So it can be considered as a symbol used in the movie. So after studying the simple semiotic analysis, we are going to take a look at the narrative structure analysis. What is it? When we talk about narrative structure analysis, there are 2 things that we will look into. Number 1, of course, is the plot structure, how the story develops. But the second thing that we will look into would be the characters as well. Why? Because how the characters are designed would affect the development of the story as well. So eventually, it will go back to the plot structure, how the story develops. So when we talk about narrative structure analysis, we'll look into the plot structure, we'll also look into the design of the characters. Let's start with the plot structure first. And when we think about the basic way of studying the structure of a movie, we can use this 3-act structure to analyze the plot of the movie. And in a 3-act structure, there are 3 parts, of course, to study the movie. They are the setup, the confrontation, and also the resolution. The setup means the setting, the background of the movie. So in the beginning of the movie, normally it will give you background information about when and where the story is set, who are the characters, what are the relationships and stuff like that. And then after you have all this background information, then the movie will show you the confrontation, the problems that the characters encounter, and the rising action. So the story develops and the characters will face a series of problems and how they tackle it. Until the very end, there will be a climax, that is the resolution. So what is the final problem that the characters need to deal with? Is all or nothing situation. Is either live or die, is either stay or leave situation. So there will be a climax, and that will be the part of this resolution, the ending. And then after the climax, there will be some following action, the ending, how the story ends. So a movie can be divided into 3 parts, namely setup, confrontation, and resolution. We can take Alita, Battle Angel as an example. So in the beginning of the movie, the story will explain where Alita is from and how she's created by Dr. Dyson. And the audience will know more about the Iron City and the Sky City Salem. So all this background information is given in the beginning of the movie. We will also know more about the motorball games and about the hunter warriors and the relationships between characters. So this is the setup of the movie. And after knowing all the background information about the movie, then the movie will start telling you the problems that the character faces. Like for example, Alita finds out the conspiracy of the Enterprise and the boss of the Enterprise, Nova. So the boss is trying to kill her, and she needs to save her from being killed by others. And so this is the problem that the character faces. And then at the end, be careful, spoiler alert. Alita kills Vector, who is controlled by Nova, and orders Otter to kill Alita. And so Alita kills that person, and that's how the story ends. And also Alita's lover, Hugo, dies, and Alita becomes the most popular and powerful motorball star. So this is how the story ends. And this is the resolution, the climax, because the problem is solved now. So that's the end of the movie. We call it the resolution. So after studying the 3-act structure of a movie, we can also look into the characters, which may affect the story development. Let's take Beauty and the Beast as an example. If you know more about the characters, you can see that the design of the characters actually affects how the story develops. Like the Beast and Belle. The Beast is a very rich prince, but he's spoiled and arrogant and self-centered. And that's why he's trapped in the castle and becomes a beast. And no one's like to get close to him, and that's why he needs to stay in the castle alone, because of his personality, how this character is designed. Then, Belle is very kind, caring, adventurous, and courageous. She meets this beast, but she's not afraid and she doesn't leave him. And that's how the story develops. Imagine if Belle is not designed as a courageous, adventurous girl. Will she be able to save the beast? Will the story develop in this way? Maybe no. So this is why character design actually affects the story development. And we'll look into the contextual analysis. When we talk about contextual analysis, of course, we're looking into the context of the movie. We'll look into the culture, the social issues, and also the messages included in the movie. Take Me Before You as an example. So in this movie, it talks about disability and also euthanasia, assisted suicide. For example, Parasite, it's the Best Picture of the Oscars 2020. And in this movie, it talks about poverty, family, social gap, class system in the country, capitalism. So all these social issues and messages are included in the movie. Jojo Rabbit, it talks about anti-hate, it talks about love, beliefs, justice, and history and rules. So all these can be discussed as contextual analysis of movie. The last type of analysis would be mise-en-scene analysis. Mise-en-scene may seem a big word, but actually, apart from what we have discussed, the rest can be identified or categorized under mise-en-scene analysis, including cinematography, how the movie is filmed, which angle, whether wide shot or close-up shot is used, sound effects, visual effects, makeup and hairstyling, music, original score, props, scene setting, costume design, and all these or anything else we can categorize as mise-en-scene analysis. So when you want to analyze a movie from the cinematography angle, or how the costumes are designed, or how the scene is set, then all these will be under mise-en-scene analysis. So that's it. I hope that after watching this video, you would be able to learn more ways to analyze a film instead of just talking about the plot structure, the storyline, or just the acting of the actors or movies. So there are actually many things you can talk about when you want to study a movie. So that's it. Thank you for watching.